What's going on, and welcome to SPN Lineups featuring Philly D and Steve the Fantasy Assassin. Check us out on Twitter, SPN Lineups. Find our videos on Facebook and Instagram at No Limit Fantasy Sports. Today we're talking NBA. Check out CryptoFantasySports.com, where we have our very own tournament, the SPN Lineup Special. We run it every day. It's free to enter, and the winner gets $10 in No Limit coin. The catch is, I'll be naming a player later in the show, and you need to put him on your roster in order to be eligible for that prize. The highest scoring team with that player wins the $10. Congratulations to last night's winner, Servac. He scored 313.75 points. Respect, brother. You can sign up to CryptoFantasySports.com using the links below. Last night, Steve, we did some dominating, baby. We cashed in every tournament we set our feet in, which leads me to this point. We heard some people chattering about fantasy shows and the hosts name off players that you should put in your lineup, but then the pros go ahead and put different players in their lineups. Steve, is that the case here?
Absolutely not. I mean, you'll see in our lineups all the names that we had talked about on the day's show. Really, the only difference would be if some news item came out after we recorded that changed something drastically, but this is our research every day, and we're just sharing it with everybody.
Last night, I remember we did not talk about Jrue Holiday because he was a game time decision. We didn't think he was going to play, so he wasn't on the show. But you could have found 7 out of 8 players in our winning lineup on the show yesterday.
And so, speaking of Jrue Holiday, his absence from the game opened up quite a opportunity for Rajon Rondo, who had 57.25 as the Pelicans beat the Mavericks 115-105. Another good value for the Pelicans was shooting guard Ian Clark, who, of course, was on our value pick section yesterday. He turned in a 7.4 value last night, and if you did take AD, he kind of disappointed, so having Ian Clark there to pair with him wasn't too much of a disappointment.
Don't forget about Nerlens, bud.
Oh yeah, I wanted to let you talk about that one because he was your pick.
Nerlens decided to go to New Orleans and put up 6.5x value for the Mavs. I was pretty proud of that one. The Celtics edged out the Thunder 100-99. Not a good night value-wise for Westbrook, who was only a 4x. But over in Boston, Jason Tatum was a beast. With Kyrie, Smart, and Jaylen Brown out, he's really stepped up and come in at a whopping 8.6 value.
Speaking of value, the Hawks' upset of the Jazz was mainly due to the career night from Dennis Schrader. So 58.25 fantasy points on the night for him means that he came just shy of 10x. And there's actually another guy on Atlanta that did the same exact thing, Dwayne Dedmon. He turned in 46.75 fantasy points with a $4,800 price tag. And you'll remember I talked about Biggs going up against Rudy Gobert, getting some more opportunity for rebounds, and Dedmon scooped up 15 boards to go along with his 15 points. It was a little bit better for him because fellow Hawks big man John Collins was ruled out for the game. Definitely boosted Dedmon's stock yesterday.
Last night's SPN Player of the Day, Blake Griffin, had a great night, posting up 57.25 fantasy points and turning in a 6.7x return as Detroit wiped the floor with the Suns, 115-88.
And a couple other guys who had big nights, a couple big men. Yusuf Nurkic had 51.75 for Portland in their loss to the Rockets. And another Blazer, Alfaro Camino, he had 45 points. And it was a pretty bad night for Lillard and McCollum, so a couple different guys getting into the mix for Portland than usual. Another big guy who had a good night, Alex Len. He had 42.5 for the Suns, who were missing both Devin Booker and TJ Warren. So there's a little more offense to go around, even though they only scored 88 points.
8 games on tonight's slate, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, with Toronto heading to Cleveland. King LeBron James has put up 70 fantasy points in his last 4 games out. I personally also like Kevin Love.
And one thing to note here, with DeRozan being rested last night, just keep an eye out. They may opt to rest Kyle Lowry tonight. It really just depends on what direction the coach wants to take it.
They're going to need all that strength in the playoffs. Those two teams face each other every year. We've got a heavyweight center, a couple of heavyweight centers playing really bad teams tonight. Embiid plays the, Embiid and the 76ers are at home versus the Grizzlies. First team to get 50 losses this year. He's 9,700 tonight, which is 100 more than Nikola Jokic, who is playing against the Bulls, who will most likely be the next team to lose 50 games this season.
And the Knicks travel to Miami to take on the Heat, and I'm pretty confident in picking Miami in this one, but just remember to check your expectations, since last time they played 2 overtimes, so it kind of inflates their stats last game. So don't expect Olynyk or James Johnson to put up 68 like they did last time out, but they're still pretty good plays tonight.
James Johnson gonna flop, buddy. Pelicans versus the Pacers at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is one of those games to keep an eye on, a close one, right until tip-off. Jrue Holiday, however, has already been ruled out again. The Pelicans have a pattern of resting Rondo on back-to-backs, so keep an eye on that. He was a great value last night, but they've also had Holiday in the lineup when Rondo is resting. So if he's in, he's a solid play at 5,700. But if he's out, if Rondo is out, I'm looking at Larry Drew to get some big minutes. And this is notable because his salary is $3,000. The minimum.
And the Hornets versus the Nets, this is a good example of a game that's much more relevant fantasy-wise than in real life. Kemba Walker's price went up to 8,700, but he'll still have tons of usage tonight with Nick Batum out. Jeremy Lamb's price also went up to 5,400, but he's still a good play tonight. Expecting somewhere around 6x from him.
The Wizards head to San Antonio tonight. LaMarcus Aldridge has been the whole team lately and seems to be worth his $8,800 price tag. For the Wizards, it's a tough call because Bradley Beal is all over the place. He's good. If we pick him, he's bad. But Thomas Satoransky and Markieff Morris might be worth taking a look at.
Speaking of guys to take a look at, I got some value picks for you. We're going to start off with DeLon Wright, 4,700 for Toronto. I think he's a decent pick, even if Kyle Lowry plays. But if Lowry plays, if Lowry sits, he's an absolute lock. Patty Mills, I think, is more of a safe play. He seems to be turning in a 5x value most of the time. The slot machine icon there next to Frank Ntilikina is he's risky, but it could pay off for you if you're a gambler.
Jackpot.
The paperclip next to E'Twaun Moore means that he's kind of a versatile player, so you can put him in your head-to-head lineup, you can put him in your GPP lineup, and the other thing too is with Jrue Holiday being out, he's going to get a little more opportunity. Antonio Blakely, Chicago. You see the golf course there because Chicago's going to be golfing in about 2 weeks. So I would be really, really hesitant to trust anything there because people got their eyes on the summer. However, there's open auditions in Chicago, and when guys have price tags this low, it's probably worth a risk. But don't put Bobby Portis in your lineup. Ian Clark, also like Moore, he gets a lot of minutes tonight with Holiday out. And you know I talked about Malik Monk last time. There's still some opportunity. He might only get 20 to 25 minutes, but I think he'll make the most of those minutes. Very risky, though. A couple guys that aren't too risky, Jeff Green and Dylan Brooks. They play a lot of minutes, don't score a lot of points, but pretty good price tag if you're filling out a head-to-head lineup or a double-up. Now, Kelly Oubre Jr., 4,500 for Washington. I was reading right before we came on here that Jody Meeks and Mike Scott are probably going to be out for the game tonight. And they're kind of minor bench players, but their minutes have to be absorbed by somebody else, and that somebody is probably Kelly Oubre Jr. So good price tag on him. Jabari Parker, 4,500 for Milwaukee. He's great, great talent, but still working his way back from injury, so I'm not sure what kind of minutes he's going to get. But he should have a lot of opportunity for about 25-30 tonight. Check Diallo, I feel like he's probably going to be a pretty popular pick, but that icon of the car slipping off the road means be careful. It's I don't trust it, but I want to put his name on here just so you can take a look at it yourself. Philly really likes Bam Adebayo tonight, and I have to agree with him because he's going up against the Knicks, who feature the not-so-fearsome interior defense duo of Enes Kanter and Kyle O'Quinn. Pretty soft. So I think Adebayo's going to get quite a bit of opportunity. But at the same time, Kyle O'Quinn is an extremely offensive center and should have quite the opportunity himself, too. And then rounding it out, we got a couple names that look more like soccer players than basketball players, but Cristiano Felicio has taken over for Robin Lopez in Chicago, and he's getting about 25 minutes a night. So for that price tag, it's definitely worth taking a look at. And for Charlotte, Guillermo Hernan Gomez has been coming off the bench to spell Dwight Howard, and it's just tough to call because in Charlotte, they're not playing for anything, so you'd think they'd want to get a look at some of the guys on the bench to see what they've got. So I expect him to get another 20 minutes tonight, and he's usually pretty productive when he gets the minutes.
And finally, we get to the SPN lineup special player of the day. Make sure to have him in your lineup in our SPN lineup special tournament for your chance at $10 in no limit coin. Tonight's player of the day, point guard for the Philadelphia 76ers at 9,000 Spankies, Ben Simmons. Get him in your lineup and make sure to have him in your lineup. Check us out on Twitter at SPN Lineups for news, injuries, and updates. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, share the video all over the world. Check out CryptoFantasySports.com and all the links below. Good luck, and we'll see you later.